Bangarang.
All right, everyone. We're here again in Nooketown Studios. Today we have Mr. Joe Schneider, aka MOTE.
Josef Schneider. Ich bin ein deutscher Mensch.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you very much for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Pleasure.
Well, you are originally from Nashville.
Yes.
Right? Man, what was it like growing up in that place? It's like such a humongous hub of music in the U.S. What is it like?
It's great. It was great. Especially, it was really different, of course. Like, it kind of became a popular... It's still not, I wouldn't consider a big city, but it's up and coming, and it's been growing like really rapidly since like 2010. But it was kind of like incredible because there was so much music around. Like literally, your dentist is like a bitchin' guitar player, or like whoever like can play. So. You're constantly around music, you're constantly around, especially like growing up there, like you would see sort of famous like country stars all the time, or like sometimes like rock stars and stuff like that, and everybody was sort of raised to like you don't go speak to them unless you actually need to or whatever. And it was this kind of quiet sort of metropolis, and yeah, an incredible place to learn because there's so much work there. There's so many excellent players, and a lot of especially more so for like country and stuff like that, which I was like very averse to when I was younger. I grew to love it, but not until I was, I don't know, in my 20s or something like that. But there was a lot of opportunity to play in whatever, from choirs to doing musicals to playing shows. When we started playing gigs, when we were like 13, 14 years old with my early bands and stuff. So there was just a lot of opportunity, and now there's even more. And everything about that, I think, has gotten better. Like from the musicians to the different types of music, they're playing everything there, so it's cool, man.
That's awesome, man. Because like just the sheer level of musicianship between everyone there just makes you level up your game a little faster to kind of keep up, right?
Yeah, you have to, but it doesn't. And there is competition, I suppose, but people are really nice there. The Southern hospitality is real. So there's. If you're a nice person and you can, handle it, there's like a lot of opportunities.
Cool. And well, you've been in Berlin for what,
almost 5 years.
Cool.
5 years in February.
How does it compare? What's the contrast there from Nashville to Berlin?
It's a stark contrast. I like Berlin is a lot better for me. The types of music that exist here, or that are like, really happening here, are not happening so much in Nashville. The sort of, there are punk bands in Nashville, there are rock bands, there is some electronic music, but there's not an industry infrastructure around it like there is here. The industry is mostly based around like country and gospel music in Nashville. So, so Berlin and in Nashville, there's a kind of artistic aesthetic, but I think it has to do more with the South and stuff like this. Berlin is just so much more, to me, my taste of what I like in fashion and the film scene here, the theater scene, art museums. There's just a lot more. And then, of course, like, I make rock and roll. I love electronic music. There's a ton of that shit here. So, and also I would just say this, people's ability to dress well is a lot better here. The fashion is
Would you say Berlin is a bit more international as well, as far as the scene goes? Because I feel like Nashville is
yeah.
super big, but it's very American based. I mean, very country focused.
Yeah,
It's more of a national capital than a international capital as Berlin is.
for sure. I would say that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's cycle things back into your music a little bit.
All right.
If you were doing a playlist that featured your stuff, what are some of the other artists that would be in the same playlist?
Okay, well, some things come immediately to mind, but I will just say that in no way do I feel that I could compare to a lot of these people. The first name that comes is like David Bowie is such a inspiration for what I do with my music, but you know, I'm not trying to say that I could compare to a David Bowie. So like lately, I would say I've been drawing a lot of inspiration from, and just in life, like my rock and roll. David Bowie. There's a group, I think they're from Georgia originally, called Boy Harsher.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know them?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're super cool, and they do not sound like they're from Georgia. They're very dark, very kind of 80s electro, but they do kind of a modern spin on a lot of those kind of sounds. So the electronic side, I would say, of my music kind of draws from stuff like that. Nirvana, of course, they're, again, like, I would just throw it on the playlist. They were like kind of the reason that I felt like I could start making music, and the kind of high energy that I related to. Maybe one more. PJ Harvey.
Okay.
Nick Cave, maybe something from the 90s.
That makes sense, man. Especially with the newer stuff that you've been doing.
Yeah.
It definitely draws from that vibe. That's really cool.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff too, I mean, Nirvana aside, but and Bowie was it has been an influence for a long time, but a lot of the stuff, you know, things really, my direction got a lot more clear to me in a very natural way when I came to Berlin. So a lot of the stuff that I've been, like PJ Harvey, I dug her before, but like some things like that, or Boy Harsher, I was not listening to them until I came to Berlin. So this city has like had a profound effect on my creativity.
Bowie makes a lot of sense with Berlin just in general, right?
Of
Because
course.
everyone relates him to Berlin. And funny enough, just a quick side note on Boy Harsher, the person that introduced me to them was Aaron.
Oh yeah,
It's like our mutual friend.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He's super into them, and he was like, "Dude, you have to listen to these guys.
Yeah.
They're insane."
Yeah, they're so cool, man. Yeah, it's amazing, like all the stuff that I found. I was not listening to Grimes. Like, okay, Grimes would be another one for that list. I was not listening to her until I came here. All this stuff just kind of, you know how music just comes along kind of at the right time, you know, even if it's really old, or so much stuff that I just love so dearly has just sort of arrived in the last 5 years for me. And
That's really cool, man. Well, that kind of leads us on to what's next. What are you currently working on? Do you have any news? Anything coming out?
I have
that you would
news.
like to-
Sure. Everyone. MOTE will be appearing at Bade House in Berlin on November 22nd. Also on November 25th, Bade House. We're in Hamburg on December 6th at Molotov, supporting a cool band called House of Harm, who are kind of Depeche Mode-ish from the US. We have a single called Torn of Wind coming out next Thursday on Halloween. We have a single coming out on December 6th as well. And some exciting stuff for next year too, but I can't talk about that just yet. So.
All right.
So those are my plugs.
Cool, man. Well, I'll link everything down below to his socials. YouTube channel, you also have one, right?
We have YouTube, yeah?
I'll make sure that everything is accessible in the links down below. Thanks a lot for coming over, man. It's always a great hang.
Yeah, my pleasure, brother. Cheers.
All right, cheers.
Support Nooketown.